All right. I don't know for sure that this is working, but I'm gonna try to find out here in just a second. Microphone seems to be working. Audio seems to be working.
My world's crumbling down like the walls of my heart. Your memory's still lingering, tearing me apart. Rain pounds against the roof like a restless drum. My soul's on fire, but it's burning out. Oh, the rain keeps falling, feeling so alone, trying to drown my sorrows, but they just won't leave me be. Oh, guitars crying, harmonia moaning, but it's all in vain. I'm just a shadow of a man with nothing left to gain. Rain's washing away the pain, but it's just temporary reprieve. I'm still left with this hollow feel, this emptiness I can't leave. Oh, the rain keeps falling, feeling so alone. Trying to drown my sorrows, but they just won't leave me be.
All right. Just trying to make sure that the stream was actually working. It appears to be. All right, and so basically what I've got here is the Pimp Audio Studio that I basically have coded from the ground up. It's all Swift MLX. It uses the A-Step 1.5 models, basically. And I've set up all of the LoRA and LoKr training, as well as some remote GPU stuff that I'm still not finished with. I've got histories. I've got presets. My training section. LoRa's. My remote GPU side. The dataset builder. The edit options, if I had any music in there, and then the generation side. It does music. I use what's the other and so that opens over here. Let me make sure. Yeah, all the keys and everything are hidden. It scans your system for any local LLM subscription, or not LLM, but any AI subscriptions you might have, and will automatically attach to them if you do. And then as well, we have the option to add in API keys if that's how you happen to roll for some reason. I don't know what's going on with my Grok there, but we're not going to mess with it because I'm not using it anyway at this moment. And this is for the lyric writer, right? And so we've got a Quinn model in there that'll generate lyrics for you automatically. But as well, we can pick one and have that generate lyrics for you should we want to do that, which obviously there'll be a lot better because right now we're using, I said Quinn, actually it's the Llama. which I want to upgrade that because this is kind of an older model, and there is a Quinn model that's better for that these days, but it's kind of a big deal to upgrade all the guts like that. So I haven't done it yet, but we'll get to it here at some point. And then all the different models that I have access to. So the smaller models, which are like 4.8 gigs, the fast generator, the full model, the SFT focus training. I can't remember what the S is, but that's the best one in most cases. And then the large models that they came out with not too long ago. And again, the turbo model would be for quick generation, even if it is a 20 gig model. And then the base model, and then the best one, specialized focus training. I can't remember what the S is, but it's focus training. And so these are the SFTs are the best models. And then the different VAE and the text decoder model. And then the other parts for the cover song models. And then stable audio for all of the sound effects. I've got it where you can click the button to release the memory. So like right now the model is loaded because I just generated this song. And so you see I'm running 84% on my memory usage right now. And if I needed to clear it out for some reason, I can click the release button. And you see my memory just cleared all out. So it just basically evicted the model from memory to allow me to do something else. Hugging Face, you can download custom models from Hugging Face if you wanted to. Delete models, set your whatever one you want active, so I'm using the 4 billion parameter here as active. I can delete it and then re-download it if I wanted to, or set this one active again if I have low memory. I'm running on a 16 gig machine. Obviously I can't run a 20 gig model, and so I can pick which one I want just by clicking the button and making it active. I have full MCP control over it, so I built in MCP capabilities into the app, so that basically you can, if you're running a local LLM, or you have Codex or Claude or Gemini or Grok or any of them running in their harness, you can set the MCP up and then tell it to go, take control. These are some of the things that it can do. As far as when it'll actually query it, is usually what happens. It'll like stat it and list all of the available MCP tools that are provided to it. And then all of the adapters as well. I guess you can turn on API keys. So if you wanted to secure it, you can do that just in case you want to run it on another machine for some reason. And right now it's set to localhost only, but as soon as you click this on and put a token in there, an API key, it'll bind to the IP address instead of just localhost. So I can put it somewhere else on my network should I want to. And then adapters is all of the different adapters that I've generated, whether they're local adapters or whether they're remote GPU adapters or whatever that case might be. They all show up in here, and you can select them and basically lay them on top of your A-step model to get a better quality, or a more focused. So like I've been using the Dark Gentleman on YouTube, his audio tracks to basically train my adapters so that because again, I'm developing it. So I'm trying to make sure it's working right. So I basically grabbed a bunch of his songs and then I train against them for testing purposes. And again, this is all just my stuff. I'm not publishing or, doing anything, trying to sell them or nothing like that. Again, it's just for my development purposes. You have the ability to merge models or adapters, I should say. So if I wanted to I just finished this one tonight, and that's the best one that I've done on this particular piece of software. And I got a 0.54 loss on it, which is pretty good. That was what we were just listening to. Where this one only ran 10 epochs, and we came down to a 0.6. And then I have another piece of software in my GitHub called Anvil audio v2 that is the Python version of this that uses the Grotto web interface and all of that. Basically, I took the Ace Step has their Grotto Python setup, and I essentially just, I won't say cloned it. I mean, I wrote it my own way, say it like that, taking the models obviously and the structure of how they did it and rewrote it into my own thing, because their software was it's not janky, but there was a couple things that it didn't do that I wanted it to do, and all of that. So I essentially just rewrote the software, and I used that software to train these two models right here on a H200 or H100 or on run pods, and those are like my best two so far, and these are LoRa's, and I've been working on the LoKr, however you want to pronounce the LORK, the low rank, or it's actually low Chronar or something like that. It's like a different algorithm they use to basically inject what it learns into the adapter. And but basically there's your models, and you can merge two of them together. So this one should be instrumental, and then I just finished that voice earlier today. I've been running it over a couple of days now because I coded in the ability to pause the training session because they take a long time. I mean, I'm on a MacBook Pro M4 Max with 64 gigs of unified memory, and it takes a while. And so I basically started it maybe 3 days ago, I think, let it run. When I went to bed, it ran for probably 5-6 hours. I got up, paused the training, and then did what I did for the rest of the day. And then later that evening, I restarted it. It ran for several hours. I again paused it and then did what I did. And then I just restarted it, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5, 6 hours ago, and let it finish. And that was 50 epochs I did on that one, but each epoch does like 10 steps, I think it is. And so they take a while to get done. And so, but basically I can merge them together if I wanted, so I could have my voice and my instrumental merged together, or I could just train them like that. That's an option. But again, if I wanted to get a different type of a voice on a different type of instrumental, that would be the reason you'd want to do that. And then, excuse me, community adapter, so I can go out and search Hugging Face. If I have my API key plugged in, I could put a Hugging Face address in here, and it would show, and then I could download that particular model, or I can import straight off of there or from my local machine if I have some that I've made that are just local. And so that's basically kind of the settings there a little bit. And then again, as I was saying, you can do music, you can do sound effects. So if I said I want to, hear footsteps on a wooden floor, I could type that in and hit generate, and it would generate footsteps on a wooden floor, or ambient background type of, the wind blowing, or some type of ambient sounds. But auto is generally your best bet because it's smart enough to figure out based on what you type in your prompt what it is, and then it'll automatically switch. Right now it defaults to music, and then your prompt, you can type in something basic, dark blues, like that, and then you can hit the little enhance button right there. I guess it's not long enough. Here's the best way to do it. I got a preset set up that I've been using right here, and wonder why that's not coming up now. I don't know. I have to look into that. Who's messaging me at damn 3:30 in the morning? Let's see. And then as well, it'll write lyrics for you. And yeah, and so basically this is the main thing right here. And then I can, like the one I just generated right here, you get other options. I can drop a song in here and create a cover for it, which I haven't fully tested it yet. I used it once and it had some bugs that I've since fixed, but I haven't tested it yet. You've got some advanced options as far as whether you're using float 32 or float 16. The steps, it defaults to auto, and depending upon which model you're running, the SFTs default to 50, and then the turbos will default to 8. More steps to a point are better. It's like diminishing returns. So if you go in there and type 1,000 steps, it's not going to be any more benefit than doing, say, 100 steps. But generally, I found that like 50 is like the sweet spot, maybe 75, depending on once you get, your prompt and your lyrics the way you like them, and you want the final closely, it follows your prompt. Basically, the higher you go, it gets a little bit more creative. The verbose, that'll go away. That's just for my debugging in Xcode, so that I can see like everything that happens and make sure that everything's getting filled right, and all of the AI model side of it. And then the adapters, which I showed you a second ago, are right here, and I've got it set up where you can stack them. And so like the one I just did was this dark blues V4, right? And I set it to probably 2.6 times, and then I can add another adapter, which is already there. So if we took that off, so that's just the one adapter, and then I can click the add adapter, and then any of the same type of adapter I can add. And so like let's do it like this. If I come here, we'll switch this over to the style, which is an instrumental quality. And again, this was the one I ran on an H200, I think it was, or H100 on run pods. And then you see how it only gives me the one, because these are the only two LoRa's that I currently have. But I can add it in and then specify its strength. And for this one, we'll lower it down just a little bit. 0.5, we'll go up to like maybe a 0.8 or so. We'll try that. And then we'll go ahead and just click the generate. All that is the default. And it takes not too long. It'll give us an estimate here in just a second, I think. Oh no, that's on the other thing. But while that's running, I've got an editor. As soon as click that edit this button, see if it doesn't blow up. There you go. And you can see I'm pushing 90% on my memory usage. And again, I do have a couple of other things running, so let me stop my AI, and then we'll go ahead and kill off my web browser, kill off my Discord. I gotta keep that running. We'll leave all that running. And so I come in here and edit the song, basically. You can set constraints on the frequencies. You can in paint or repaint. add effects, normalize it, stretch the time, pitch, fade in, fade out, reverb, all that kind of basic stuff. You know, I put this in right at the very beginning and haven't messed with it since, but I'm going to try to add a little bit more in here to make it a little bit more robust, so to say. In painting, repainting. So like if there's a piece that is wrong or something, I can come in here and be like, I want you to like fix this piece right here and give it a prompt and be like, you know, redo the something. The voice right here is messed up or whatever that case might be. But you can also play it through here like that. If we go back to the generate side here, I added this analyzer right here. And it shows you kind of stepping through what it's doing. So it tells you all the details about it and then where it's at in the process. Right now we're running it through the diffusion models, and then what model we're actually running it on, and what LoRa's are attached to it, what your duration is, what the seed is, your guidance, which goes along with the presets for the guidance, and it's a constant, in this particular case, a constant guidance. And then some of the other ones, you know, like soft blast or something like that, where it like lets it kind of do its thing and then it starts getting a little tighter towards the end. And so we got 43 seconds left approximately. We're on step 41 of 50. And then you can see it just kind of keeps chugging up. And again, I turned this on for debugging. I think once I get it fully dialed in, I'll turn this into some kind of a mermaid type of a thing to make it look a little bit cooler. I mean, it's good just to be able to kind of see where it's at in the process and how it flows. It flows from the bottom up. So this is the start and this is where it's at. And so, and then it gives you the ability to do A/B comparisons, which I'll show you here in just a second. So 19 seconds. See how this is going to sound. That might have went away because I evicted the model. I don't know why. What that's all about. I'll figure it out here in a minute. My GPU's churning. I'm trying to get this guy done. So we're at 50 of 50 right now. Let's hear what that sounds like. You see, so not so good. And I think what that is that I turned the strength up too much. So if we come back down, wait, first I got to reload my preset. And then I would essentially take that guy off and re-add it so I'm sure which one's on there. And then I've found that basically we should just be able to do it just like this. And I just added these the other night. We were looking through the code. And the adapters were just like barely pushing in. It was like a 0.25 at 1 strength, which was the max. And so I added the ability to go up to 4, and then so I could turn them up a little bit. That seemed to fix the issue. But for the LoRa's that I did, they were already pretty good. It did take a 1, and normally you wouldn't go that high. But again, the strength just wasn't coming through. So I found that 1 for this particular adapter, and the 0.5 actually worked pretty good. Dude, come on. So that was
woke up this morning with the rain coming down. Another empty bottle, another lonesome town. She packed up her suitcase.
and so that's basically these two adapters. And I generated that one out of let's see what the hell, dude. Shut up. Who the hell is going to be just blowing me up at almost 4 o'clock in the morning? I generated that one. I think I did that in the Python version. I don't remember. But M4A, I'm pretty sure that's where I did that from. I don't know for sure, but it sounded pretty good. I mean, that adapter was pretty tight.
The road got in the way. Now the dark blues got me, and they're here to stay. So it's at midnight, so my tomorrow's for lonesome voice. I'm not a crying like a broke man's prayer. Guitar strings bleeding in the cold night air. Rain on the highway, headlights cutting through. Every mile I travel takes me so far from you. When the levee breaks.
And so that sounds pretty damn good for free, just AI music. And that's really all I listen to these days. I mean, like if you look at my playlist on my Apple Music, all this is AI. All of it. Which I do have some regular music and stuff, like in my favorites. I got a bunch of Culture Wall and Upchurch mainly. Tom McDonald I saw in there. And then for all, I mean, I got a whole bunch. I got like, a bunch of gigages. Ooh, let's not do that. A bunch of gigs worth of music I've collected over the years, but these days it's all just AI. I love it. It all sounds so good. Like this Breaking Rust guy, he's got some really good music. Same with the Dark Gentleman on YouTube. It's at the Dark Gentleman, all one word. Actually, there's something on the end of it. I don't remember what it is, but if you just do a search for the Dark Gentleman, he'll come up. All of his music rips.
Woke up this morning with the rain coming down. Another empty bottle, another lonesome town. She packed up her suitcase and she walked out the door. Left me with these blues and I can't take no more.
So, as you can see, I mean, I don't know what kind of music you like, obviously, but I like that old dark blues kind of stuff, and it's coming together pretty good. And we can go look at my history now and see. So that's the one I just did right there. And so I can go into select mode. No, wait, actually, this is the one I just did, right? Yeah, June 13th. So I can select this one and then select that one and then compare the two. And it'll bring that analyzer up. And then right now it's just showing just the changes. And so it's saying that basically I've got these two adapters on this song, and then I've got those two adapters on that song. That's the seed, which is basically, it's usually random, but for all the testing, I just set it to 42 because that's the answer to life or whatever. And to keep consistent. see, so that when I test these adapters, I'm doing the same thing every time, and the only thing that changes is the adapter. And so that way I can gauge the strength of the adapter, is basically what that is for. With that other one, I just set it to random, and then, you know, it tells you what the prompt was I used, how many lines the lyrics are, and then the absolute mean, the mean and the max is like, I don't even know how to explain it, but that's the difference. And then again, it'll show you the difference, the waveforms, and how long they were, and all of the all of the different things. And then we can turn off where it just shows everything, but anything that matches, you know. So you don't really need to see all that. So that's kind of like the best way to do it. And it just gives you a way to kind of quickly do an A/B test. And so if I'm testing an adapter I generated, and I run this one, and then I run another adapter, and then I can put them side by side, and then I can listen to them. Dark blue. And then I can listen to them and try to see kind of what was going on. And so like if I go back, close that out, and we take that one off, and then we put this one on, that way there'll be a little bit more of a comparison. So you see now the only thing that's different is really the adapters. And so that's just the voice adapter I've got on here. He was at a 1 strength, and then I had 2 adapters here. And again, these are LoRa's, which is not in the name, but they're LoRa's. And this is the other version. So let me bring let's go over here, see what Grok's got to say. I've looked it up before, but I forget. Yeah, the low rank LoKr product, and then the LoRa is the low ranked adapter. Yeah, low rank adaptation. And so it's just a way how they generate the adapter itself is essentially what it is. And so on my LoRa, on my LoKr, I run Dora as well, and then on the just the LoRa side, it's just LoRa by itself. And so but yeah, and again, so this is just a way for me to test, you know, is why I've got all this set up, so I can, again, this is pretty complicated, and I'm using AI to write all of this. I mean, I'm not really a software developer. I mean, I'm an IT guy. I've been a network engineer, CCNP, for 30 years or so. And so, I mean, I know my way around a computer and data centers and all of that good stuff. But I've never really been a developer, you know. Again, I've been a network engineer and systems engineer, and so I've worked with DevOps teams and, you know, all that stuff, but I've never actually been a developer. And so AI makes it so easy, you know, and so, or not necessarily easy, you just don't have to know exactly all the details, because again, generally speaking, I don't write any code. I let the AI do it all, and it does a really good job about 99.9% of the time. And if it doesn't, I just tell it to, here's the error, fix it, and it'll go fix it. And so, but this stuff is complicated, trying to get all this math and stuff, man, to get all of these, all this, the data and how it goes, the forward pass and the backwards pass, and stuffing in all the different things. It's very complicated, and it's kind of hard. And so, hard to understand, say it like that. And, but it all kind of come together because, again, we've got Grok build I use, I've got codecs I use, and Claude. And I started off with Claude. He was great. And then I used codecs with GPT 5.5. and I think I like that one a little bit better. I understand a lot of people think that Claude is a better programmer, and overall I think it is, but he's kind of wild sometimes. I was running Sonnet for the most part, and he just, I just ask him a question and he just start doing stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute, man, I didn't say to go change nothing. And so when I tried GPT, I liked him because he's like very pragmatic. And so he, yeah, I mean, he keeps everything updated, all the docs, the change log, he doesn't forget anything, like almost ever. And so after I use that for a little bit, I kind of turned down my max subscription on Claude, set it back to Pro, and then went with the, whatever they call it for OpenAI, the Pro plan, which is the $100 a month one. And I've been blowing that thing up, but it's been working pretty good. And then so for data sets, this one's kind of interesting. I mean, the hardest part of training anything is the data set. And so what basically I did, because again, it's music, I essentially set it up where I can go out onto YouTube and with that UT DLP right there, I can plug a channel in and have it basically generate all of the clips and stuff that I need. It'll save them to my machine, and then I can use those to build my adapters. And again, I did this simply because that's the easiest way for me to test everything to make sure it's working like it's supposed to. And again, I'm not selling anything or publishing any of it or anything like that. It's all just training and testing for the app itself. And so that gets me a bunch of music that I can then build a data set around, which are what these are. And then it essentially, it'll take, like if I have a bunch of music on my hard drive, I can point it at it from local right here and tell it kind of what I want. So if I, so I say I want the clips to be 45 seconds each. I want however many clips per file that I've got, and then how we want to pick the clips out of the files. So we want to do it in sequential, we want to spread it out evenly, or do it off of a random seed so that you get a mix of the whole. So like if I got a song, like let's just say I got 10 songs that are 2 hours long, right? And so I want to get a good mix out of that each of the 2 hour tracks. So you've got different ways to do that. And then how many max clips, or what's the maximum amount of clips you want? And then how do you want the clips, an M4A or a wave? And wave is almost always your better option. And then it'll tell you, so like, which it's not doing it now because there's nothing here, but like, let me see if I go add a folder and I go over to my right there. No, wait, I was at the right spot to begin with. Cancel, add, and of course. And so like there, I've got like 32 clips in here that are like an hour and a half each. I can add them, and then it'll tell me that we won't cover all of them. So at 20 clips per file at 45 seconds with the total maximum of 40 clips. We're only going to use 2 out of the 32. And so I have to turn it up. You see how it's kind of going down? We're using 4 out of the 32 now. 5, 6, 7, 8. And again, it'll tell you if you won't use it all. And so if I turn down the clips per file, you can see it's growing. So we're going to use 19 of the 32 files at 10 clips per file at 185 total clips. So the higher I go here, the more of that data we're actually going to use. So like we say, we set it to 300, we're going to use 30 of the 32. But then if I turn it down just a little bit, now we've got it all, right? So we'll create 288 clips across all 32 files. Right, and then if I hit the start after I labeled it, it'll basically put it into this right here. And then essentially what we do is we hit this enrich data set, and then I have a Quinn model in there that'll basically create stems. And a stem is going to be the instrument side, which is the music piece of it, and then a voice side, which is just the lyrics. And then analyze both sides. And so it'll go in there and basically try to figure out what the BPM is, what key it's in, and what it actually is. And then it'll read the vocals and get the words, right? So that's the lyrics for this particular track right here.
There's a voice beneath.
And you see there's a voice beneath the skin. And so, and again, these are the types of things that your data set needs to have in order to train it correctly. And so I've got it all AI-ified. The way I do it, you can go in here and just set it to vocals or instrumentals or a full mix, which is the data set that I have. And then when you go to actually train it, you can specify whether you want to do the instrument side, the voice side, or the full mix. But you can drill it out as far as how you build the data set itself, depending upon what kind of music it is. And you see how like I've got a warning here, and that's going to say the key is missing. So the AI couldn't figure out what key that particular track was in, or clip, I guess would be the better way to say it. And apparently I've got 5 warnings in here. And so if we scroll through, that's another one. So he couldn't figure out what the key it is. Couldn't figure out what the key is. And then so basically once you enhance it and it gets done, then you can come check out everything and make sure it matches, and, you know, listen to the track and make sure that the lyrics match and that everything is the way that it's supposed to be. And then you have the approve all button. So you can go in there and click that, and then it'll approve everything, saying that you basically, you've reviewed it and it's all the way that you want it to be. And it essentially puts it into a format kind of like this. So that's those are the clips that it generated. This is the training data that your sidestep, if you're doing remote, or the training algorithms in the app, if you're doing it local, will read to process the actual clips themselves. So for that clip right there, here's the stems for it. Right, so we have the instrument, and that's just the music piece of it. And then we have the vocals.
Silence is an empty space.
And you hear a horn in there, so it's not perfect. Again, this was just the first iteration. There are other ways to do it. I'm using a DMux, I think it is, to split those apart like that. And again, it's not absolute, but there are a couple of other options out there that I've been kind of exploring. And then it gives you your lyrics TXT file, and then basically the same thing in there. It's just in a different format. And then the JSONs for everything, where the times are as far as where the voices come in, and yada, 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 all that kind of crap. And then how it's all separated and whatnot. And this is what the actual training component of it uses. But then, so basically you've built your data set now, right? So I've got 3 of them that I've done. And again, it tells you we've got 200 clips. We've got 640 clips. And then we've got 160 clips. And then, so I've got 3 data sets right now. I can come in to the training section. There are those 3 data sets. I can pick what I want to do, whether I want to do a LoRa training, a LoKr training, or I want to do remote, right? And again, because I'm on a MacBook, you don't have CUDA cores on Mac, and it's a lot slower, we'll call it. So if you had like a 5090, a 4090, a 3090, or a H200, or a dang RTX Pro 6000 with 96 gigs of memory on it or whatever, you know, great. But if you're poor, like most of us, and can't afford that kind of crap, you can rent GPUs. I personally use DigitalOcean, and I use run pods. And basically, if we go to the console here, so here's all of the different GPUs that they have available for rent. So $3 an hour. It came out at like $9,000, but these days it's about a $12,000 to $16,000 card. These are like 30 to 40 grand. These are like 40 to 60 grand or so, 50 grand, somewhere in that neighborhood. Same, you know, all these new Blackwell cards with 190 or 180 gigs of VRAM on that thing. Really expensive. But they also have a 3090 you can get for 46 cents an hour. And so that's not a bad deal. Or you could go buy one for $1,200. But if you don't want to do that, or you don't have a PC, you're on a Mac or some kind of crappy laptop, you know, you can just come right here to Run Pods and set your account up, get your API key, or do it all right here and just SSH into the box and spin one of these guys up, and then do all of your training, you know, on one of these high-end cards for $5 an hour, or 46 cents an hour, or 25 cents an hour. And again, some of these are older technologies, obviously, but some of them are brand new technology. 192 gigs of VRAM on the AMD MI300 there. And so very easy to get access to these things for not a lot of money. But again, the training takes a while. I mean, you know, hours, depending on how big your data set is and all of that. There's a lot of variables involved. But generally speaking, it's going to take a while to train a LoRa or train any kind of adapter. And so the bigger your data set, the more VRAM you need, the newer the card, the better the GPU is, the faster it's going to be. All that comes into the mix. And so like these are all like Ampere, however they say it. These are all the Blackwells. And so a lot better. But again, for $3 an hour, can't beat it. And so you can basically just click one and then use the default template. How many of them you want. So I want to throw, and that really wouldn't make no difference for any kind of adapter training. So just one GPU is going to work just fine. But if you wanted to do some kind of inference or something, if I wanted to run DeepSeek, you know, whatever 700 billion parameter model, then I would just, you know, I'd potentially That's I don't even know how big it is, but it's hundreds of, at least 100+ gigs. So you're going to need something that's got a lot of memory in it. So you could add, more GPUs into your mix. And then, of course, you're going to have to set your software up to do tensor parallelism and all the different things to get both of the cards in the mix together. Probably better off doing some serverless type stuff for all of that. But just for my point, just one GPU, it's telling you it's going to be $589 an hour for this particular card. Turn on SSH access. I usually turn the notebooks off. The base container is 30 gigs, and then you'd want to create a network drive where all of your data is going to live, and you're going to do the actual training. And then once I set that up, so if I said we're going to just, we'll put in, whatever, turn it, make it like 100 gigs or something like that. So that, oh wait, I didn't want a network disk. I wanted just a regular volume. And so we'll just go ahead and make it like 150 gigs. And then it gives you the cost, right? So the server itself is $589 an hour, plus the disk space. And you get charged if it's stopped or not. Doesn't matter when you're doing a pod. Serverless is a little different because they'll scale and stuff kind of automatically, but they don't charge you when it's not being used. But when it is being used, they charge you like by the second. I haven't messed with these yet. Something that's on my list. Default clusters. You can come in here and create you a cluster and say, I need like 256 GPUs because I'm going to train this DeepSeek model or whatever you think you're going to do that you would need, 250 GPUs for. But it's available to you. But for my software, single instance graphics works just fine. And again, I was thinking about buying a 3090 or one of the GB10 devices so that I could do some of this stuff at home. But I've been thinking about renting one of these. I haven't rented one of these yet, the 3090s, but I have used the Pro 6000 and I think it was the H200 right here, 141 gigs. But it tells you, like if you rent this guy or that one I had selected, that B200, which is they got a B300 out now. But you get 188 gigs of RAM in the machine. You got 24 virtual CPUs in there with 180 gigs of VRAM in the actual GPU itself. There's 5 of them available right now. And then you get to obviously pick your drive size kind of on the fly. And again, the container itself doesn't really matter because you always put a volume disk on it where you do all of your actual work at. This is just for like the OS and that kind of crap. But this one is where you'd want to make sure you've got enough space. If I've got a giant data set, I'm going to need a fairly large volume disk to put all of that data in, plus the output. So you got to keep all that in mind. But essentially what I'm trying to do is get my software here where I can come in here, specify what I'm going to do. And again, the wide and the narrow is like, we're not filling in so much data, right? Whereas if I set it to wide, we're adding more, and more is usually better within reason. And then what model you're going to train against, and how many epochs you want to do. And again, it takes a while. So if you come in here and set it for, 150 epochs and I've got 640 clips, it's going to take a while. So you got to keep all that in mind. But you can save as you go right here. And so save every 10 epochs. It'll take an adapter and output it. And so that way you can like test them as you go along, right? And so after the 10th epoch or whatever you set it to, I can basically SCP that model or that adapter back down, plug it into my software, and then run a generate against it and see kind of how it's sounding, and all of that. And then when it's all done, you'll have every 10 epochs, you'll have all of those plus the final one that you'd all kind of download back to your local machine so that you can attach them to your generation and use them, And then as well, I've already got my API key plugged in. And so if I had a pod running, and again, I haven't finished this piece yet, there's a couple of things that we need to figure out with this template and all that. But I can have it refresh the GPUs, and then these are the ones that are available to rent right now. So I could pick, again, I would say that one right there, and then it should go ahead and get the template ID and the image, the default image that comes along with it. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. And then how much of a disk I want. But if I type in just some random info, now the button works. And so I'd be able to click that, and then it would spin that instance up for me. I've already created the job, but you'd want to basically click that right there, and it will generate the package, or that's actually not where it needed to be. If we come back to here, the run pod remotes. And so that's the zip. All right, so this one's almost 4 gigs for this particular data set. The 640 clip one was that other one, and that one is 20 gigs, and they contain all of the stuff. And so basically you'd essentially copy that up to your server, and there's a script in there that is basically, you'd run it, and then it will essentially build the server out, download the models and stuff that you need for the server itself. I guess that did move that back over here. That's fine. We'll put that over here. Because there's dependencies, and it's Python, so there's a lot of stuff that, you got to basically build the software. It'll download the sidestep software. It'll download the models from Hugging Face or whatever, and essentially get the package all built up, and then run the training for you. And then so you can tail the log file and watch as it's going through its thing. And then when it finishes, basically sync it all back down to your local machine, kill the server off, and test your models out. And away you go. But that basically takes all of this and all of that and creates the package. And then you upload the package, run the script, and away you go. And we're going to set it up. I was thinking about doing my own Docker image that's already done. And so basically I can set it up to where you can essentially just upload your image as well as your data set once the server is spun up using your image, but your image already has everything in it. It's ready to go. So basically, as soon as that gets copied up, your server boots up off of your own image, and then you SSH in or rsync all of your data set into it, and it's just ready to go. So there's no dependencies, and all of that's already been taken care of. But again, that's kind of a bigger process because you have to generate all that stuff locally first, and in order to get it up there and all of that. So that's a whole another can of worms. But that's the objective at some point. And then with the templates and stuff, I was looking earlier, and they actually have, make sure I'm not going to give up nothing here. They have some command line stuff that you can run. like right here. So they have the run pod control, which is basically an app that you can install on your PC to kind of give you, once you've got your API key, that you can run against their platform to get data back, So those are all, again, the servers that are currently available right now. There's another one for like the different templates. What was it? If I could get that typed right. List. That was it. List. And then those are all of the different containers. So like this one is PyTorch 2.4 running Python 3.10 on ROCm, which is AMD, Ubuntu. And you see, and so this is the part I've got to basically get set up. So when I go and let's get this back off of the screen over here. So basically when I select what server I want, so like if I'm going to do, it should automatically populate the default for that. So that's kind of where I'm at. Once I get that last piece put in, then you should be able to basically hit this button. It's going to give you the commands that you need to do to get that data set up there, and then what you need to run to actually kick off everything. And then you'll have your pods listed here, so you can hit the refresh the pods, and they'll show up down here, so you can kind of see what you've got running. And all of that, because again, you don't want to let these things just run, because idle or not, they're still billing you. So that's why it's always good to go ahead and just keep that console up, and it'll show you your pods that you have actually running right here. All this will go away, and it'll just be the whatever servers you've got spun up will be right here, so you can look at it, the stats, and what it's doing and all that kind of stuff, and then kill it off or restart it or reset it, or just all of the options that they give you. But I'm trying to get as much of that built in here as I can. It allows you to create an account if you don't already have one, type of thing. And yeah, and so basically that's my tool, man, my Pimp Audio Studio. And I use Pimp because I own pimp.net. That's my website, hence my YouTube channel name, pimp.studios, which is what I run under for my company that I'm trying to get off the ground here. And so eventually once I get this thing done, I'm going to post this up on my site and sell it if I think it's worth it. And so far, I'm pretty sure it's going to be worth it. But it'd just be like a one-time purchase, not like a subscription or nothing like that. And then I have to do a clean version for the App Store, because the App Store won't. You can't do Python. Anything that calls out is a problem. And so I know already that right there is going to be a problem. Cover songs, because it's potentially getting into copyright issues and stuff, and they don't want to deal with none of that. So I'll turn this off for the App Store version, and then we'll turn that off for the App Store version too, because it's not so much that it's pulling stuff from YouTube, it's the fact that it's running this app right here. And this app I've installed this locally via Brew, so it's an app on my machine. And again, they don't want your app to be calling any third-party apps because they can't control it, and so, but I have to turn that off, and then turn that cover song generator off, I'm pretty sure, and confirm licensing and stuff, which I know the A-step models are MIT, so I'm free to do what I want. The stable audio is free to do what you want with too, as long as your revenue's under $1 million a year. And if it gets over $1 million a year, that'd be a problem I wouldn't mind having. So I'm not too worried about that. So licensing, I should be good. There's still questions about who owns the audio when the AI generates it. There's current litigations and stuff going on for all of that currently, but again, I'm not too concerned about all that as it stands. And so But yeah, and so basically that's my audio tool right here that I've written. And then like we can go look at a couple of other things here. So my GitHub, this is my organization that I set up, and I'm working on a couple of things. So Anvil Audio V2 is the Python version of this guy, and that was built basically off of a step. So they have their own version out there, but again, it wasn't up to my liking, so to say. And so I ended up writing my own called Anvil Audio. And the dependency on this, it was basically I was trying to do a Roblox game, and I got the game built, and then I went to try to add the sounds into it, and adding sounds or getting access to sounds is kind of a pain in the butt. And so I started looking at all the different tools and what was available, and freesound.org and all these different places, and it's just like this big cluster of nonsense. So I just decided, well, screw it, man, I'm going to write my own app. And that's what I did with this one. And I had this as a dependency of it. So you had to have this in order to use the music side. And so I let that go for a little while. And then finally I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and just rewrite this to incorporate all of this without having this as a dependency. And that's where this guy came from. So basically I've shut this one down. And basically said it's it's no longer actively supported. I don't do any updates to it or whatever. If you want to use this, go to this one, just the newest one here. And I've had thousands of downloads on this so far. Actually, let's go look. Yeah, 1,170 downloads on that V2 version. And I set up Grafana so that I could keep track of everything, which I don't want to go into too much detail on that, but yeah. And so that was kind of my journey. I was trying to just find some audio for this dang Roblox game I was building, and it turned into such of a pain in the butt that I wrote my own damn software to do it. And then that kind of led into a bunch of other things with Unreal and just the different things with Blender. I tweaked the Blender MCP so that you got like access to all the different tools and crap. And then I designed a where you can go in there and because I'm a network engineer, and so of course it all kind of bled into it. But you could build like almost a fully spec'd data center in there. You can go in there and tell whatever your AI choice is that can connect to the MCP server. Build me a data center with whatever 6x8 row of racks with servers in them, and it'll do the raised floors and the cable trays and just all of the stuff kind of on the fly, which is pretty cool. And then obviously my website, most of them are all private. And then I wrote another one for Unreal, which that one is a little bit more. If you would like, go look at my website. Right, so I got it set up where it's like 300 and something tools or connectors via MCP, but we wrote them all because I looked at some of these and most of them are like Python, and it's like a service that runs outside. So it's like a bridge, so to say. You've got your AI client and then some bridge and then Unreal Engine. And so I got to looking at it, and it's all C++. And so I said, well, screw it. I'm just going to, Unreal itself is C++. And so I said, well, I'm just going to write the MCP connector in C++ and just integrate it right into the app rather than having that bridge piece there. And so I did all that, and then I was like, hey, well, I can actually just put a new window right inside of the Unreal Engine and give you access to Claude, right? And so I set up all my API keys and all of that, so that now basically I can fire up my Unreal Engine. And if you've got a subscription, which is not active yet, you can't actually order it just yet. But when I finally get around to finishing it, you'll be able to subscribe, install my plugin, and essentially you'll have a window inside of your Unreal Engine instance running on your local machine that's hooked into Claude. And I use Sonnet because he's actually pretty good for about 95% of things. So you'll be able to go in there and tell Claude, like analyze my project, and it'll do, it'll index it and answer questions for you. It can do blueprints. It can do, you tell it to, I want you to build a room that's this big, and I want you to put lights, and I want you to put this and do that, and it'll do all of that for you. And then at the same time, I've got it set up where I use Grok image for concept stuff. So you can basically be like, give me 3 concept images of a troll with a warhammer, and it'll send that off to Grok, and Grok will generate images, and it'll spit them right back out into that chat window. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to use number 1, send that over, give me a pose or a T pose fully rigged, and it'll send that off to Meshy, and then Meshy will generate you a model that's rigged, and send it back to the window and allow you to basically import it right into your project. And then you can just drop it right on in and use it in your game or whatever it is you're trying to develop. And so yeah, it's pretty cool. It's just super done. I just got like a couple of little touch up things I got to do, and I can turn that on. But they've since released whatever the newest version is, 5.8, and so I need to confirm that it'll work with 5.8, because I think when I built all this, it was 5.7.4, I think it was. And so obviously I'll still support that one because I know this works for that. Then I need to confirm that it works for 5.8, and then I'll support that one too. And then if you get the enterprise version, you get the source code with it too, so you can do any kind of recompiles or anything you need to do. But then I'm going to give just the MCP portion of it away. You have to sign up for an account, and then you'll be able to download it and then use your own AI via MCP to connect and pretty much do all of the stuff, but you just won't have the AI inside of Unreal, and you won't get the Meshy, and you won't get the Grok images and stuff. But you'll be able to run it, via Claude and ChatGPT, anything that supports our local LLM too, if you want, and Mac and Windows. And so that's kind of cool. And I'm going to update my website here at some point. But again, I got like a bunch of different things going right now. Yeah, 346 tools across 39 different categories. So it does all of it. I mean, like literally, there's just about nothing that you can do with this particular MCP engine, which is kind of cool, I have to admit. And then I'll go ahead and show you this one too. So I've been working on this one called Pimp Agent, and it's all Rust back end with a RE front end. And let me fire it up. I'll do a little quick demo. on that too. Come over here. We'll do just desktop. Let it build. So this is my AI harness. And so in my AI journey, I was using Claude for the most part. And then Claude would ask me something that I wasn't quite sure of the answer. And so I would go over to Grok and be like, paste what Claude asked me. And then Grok would answer it. And I would be like, yeah, okay, that sounds good. So then I would take Grok's reply and paste it back to Claude. And back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then finally I said, that's kind of a pain in the ass. And so I think I'm going to write my own agent, hence the mission pimp here, which allows you to basically use your subscription-based or API keys. So it'll go check your drive and see if you have subscriptions, or if you have any local LLMs, so like I run or I have Olama. I don't run it too much, but I do use OMLX a lot because I like it. It's a lot better in my opinion. And so you can run local models, which is what those two are, or you can run any of the frontier models, which is what those four are. And then I only have API keys for Grok and Claude. So that was my testing right there. But basically I got it set up here so I can basically talk to Grok. I can talk to Sonnet. I can talk to Codex. I can talk to Gemini. Or I can talk to, any Olama model that I might want to download, or any model I download for OMLX as well. And which again, this is not done yet, but the cool thing about this one is we can come in here, and again, I've got MCP, I've got a memory browser, so you can go keep track of the memory. I don't want to get into a bunch of details and give up all the goodies, but skills, your audit stuff that you can do, all the different sessions, the different profiles. You can define missions. And the key thing is this room view right here. And again, I'm not going to get into too much detail, but basically I've already used it on several occasions, but I can get all these frontier models essentially in a room together and work on something. So like, as a matter of fact, I had them for this front end we're looking at. I basically was talking with GPT-5.5 and got like a base structure down of what the questions I need answered are. And then with the command line version, because there's the desktop version and then there's a command line version, and you can do everything from the actual command line, as well as there's a TUI, TUI. So it's kind of like, best way to say it, it's exactly like that, which is the Grok front end, same app or same software, Rust. So you can get up in there and do it like that, or you can run it as commands at the command line. And so basically, once I got the doc of all the questions that I needed to get answered, I had ChatGPT do it, but he brought in Grok, he brought in GPT-5.5, and he brought in Sonnet into the room together, pointed them, here's the question, here's the document, read the document, make your suggestion, and you can assign moderators and stuff. So I can go in here and basically say like who's in charge of the room, right? I can specify a moderator or just let them pick amongst themselves, and then add extra weight to somebody else to keep them in case the moderator decides to become a dictator or whatever, I can add weights to a second model so that he's got a little bit of sway and he can stop everything and like raise up to the director, which is obviously whoever's sitting at the keyboard, any issues, you know. So like if, like, let's just say, you know, Claude is the moderator and Claude's trying to dictate that this is what we're going to do. I don't care what Grok says. I don't care what GPT says. We're going to do it my way because I'm the boss. But I've given weight to Grok. And so Grok can stop everything and then raise the red flag up to the director, which again is whoever's sitting at the keyboard, and put the issue up like, you know, hey, we've got damn Claude is in here trying to be a dictator and you might want to know this. And so, but yeah, basically this is my, little AI harness, but I'm bringing them all in because, you know, I've looked at some of the other ones and they're all like IDEs and, most of them are like side by side comparisons, but none of them actually ever work together. And the way I look at it is if I can get Opus or Fable up until earlier when they basically national security that thing, I can get Grok, I can get GPT-5.5, and I've never really used Gemini, so I have to assume it's, you know, it's classified as a frontier model, so I have to assume it's pretty good. So, but basically if I can get like all four of those brains in a room together, sitting at a table with me answering my question, that's a beautiful thing as far as I'm concerned. And so, you know, that's just a whole lot of smarts coming to the table. And so, yeah, then I'm going to have a war room, which is a little bit more of a free reign, you know, loosen the leash on them a little bit and let them get out there and kind of argue about things and try to figure out, brainstorm, or, you know, whatever that scenario might turn out to be. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with this. I'm just now to the point where I can start using it as my daily driver, but there's still a couple of issues I've got to get debugged, which is what I was working on right before I started making this video, or this live stream anyway. And so, yeah, that's going to be interesting. I'm just excited to see that I'm going to be able to have like multiple of these frontier models in the room together. That's going to be awesome as far as I'm concerned, because again, it's like my process, like I said a minute ago, was the AI would ask me something that, you know, and again, I don't know nothing about, you know, what some of the stuff they were asking, you know, with trying to, like with building this thing, we had like at the very beginning, man, I mean, whoo, Claude went through, I had Opus 4.6, what the newest one is 8. So I think it was 4.6 at the time. I ran through 1.5 million tokens with him. He worked for literally over an hour plus. Like, it was a long time, because I even commented to him, I was like, damn, dude, that was like a however long of a session that was to get this problem. He couldn't figure it out. Grok couldn't figure it out. I mean, nobody could figure it out. And he just started churning on it and churning. It was like 1.5 million tokens, I think it was, trying to figure out this problem right at the beginning when I started first having him develop this for me. There were some serious issues that he couldn't get rectified. And as a matter of fact, if we go, that was what it was originally. I need to delete that now that I'm thinking about it. But we renamed it because there's another app out there called Anvil that does audio already, but the debug, no. No. I think that was it. Yeah, I think this was it. This was all the stuff. I mean, we went through so much stuff. These are all the tests that we did trying to figure out where this issue was at. And finally, I mean, it was like days we were working on this. And then that final session, he figured it out. got it all just dialed in because we were doing comparisons with that Anvil app, and comparing them, to see why it worked in one and not in the other one. And again, it was because one is Python, and that's a lot more of a, it's been around a lot longer, so it's, had all of its bugs and all of that stuff already kind of run through or whatever. And Swift MLX is still kind of new for all this stuff. So it's not quite as robust as the Python side of the equation. And so, but we got it. Finally got it all working. And it's sounding good, as you heard. I mean, to me, that sounds pretty damn.
Woke up this morning with the rain coming down.
And again, this is with no editing to it. There's no normalization. There's no nothing to it. This is just raw, straight out of the box audio. And so I'm trying to get it to the Sona, whatever the current music generator. What is it? No. Suno, that's it. I know it'll never be to that level because I don't, I'm using a model, the A step, all their stuff is legit. Apparently Suno just trained on all the copyrighted music, and it was no big deal until they got making all them millions. And it got really good, and then RITA stepped in to try to make sure that their gatekeeping monopoly kept getting fed, and sued them. So they just wrote them a big old fat check and pays them royalties and all that stuff, kind of just going forward now. After they've already making all the large dollars coming in. And so yeah. Well, all right. That's basically it for me. I just wanted to kind of show off my new tool I'm working on. And it'll be online here at some point. And if you guys found this useful or want to keep tabs on what's going on or whatever, just feel free to subscribe to the channel here. And I'd appreciate it. It's a brand new channel. As you can see, I think I've got 1 subscriber, which is me. And but I'm going to try to make more videos of some of the stuff I'm working on. Maybe do a live stream of a coding session or something one day. And yeah. So, all right. I appreciate you stopping by. Again, feel free to ask questions or comment, like, subscribe, all the things that are typical of people streaming on YouTube these days. And I appreciate you coming by. Have a good one.